All right, guys, what we're talking about right now are those verbs that change from I to Y in the preterite. Those are verbs like leer. When I say verbs like leer, I mean ER, ooh, it's hard to draw with a mouse, or IR verbs that have a vowel directly before the infinitive ending. Look at those vowels. Okay. And if you look at the technical explanation on your golden ticket, because that's where I'm at right now, this is your golden ticket, rule number 7, I believe, unless I've changed it since I've handed it out to you guys. And it says, in a very technical way, verbs ending in ER or IR, so not including AR verbs, and containing a vowel immediately before the ending, change in the third person singular, which is the he, she, you, said form, from EO to yo, and in the third person plural, which means the they form and the you guys form, from ieron to yeron. The I has an accent mark in all other forms. So let's take a look at what that means. So here are your normal endings for an ER IR verb, which you know all start with the letter I. Iste, yo, imos, iste, hicieron. So if I was to conjugate leer, it's going to be interesting with the mouse. I would put LE in front of all of these endings. Oh, that was a good one. But because there's a vowel in front of the endings, I have to change the I to a Y in this box and this box. So what do we call those two together? We call them the slippers. So these are the verbs that change from I to Y in the slipper. So I have to change this I take it out. And of course, I suggest you guys never write over anything like this. I'm just doing it for the sake of demonstration. I change that I to a Y. I change this I to a Y. Again, I'm taking out the I. It looks like a kindergartner is doing this, and replacing it with a Y. So leyó and leyeron. But this also says the I has an accent mark in all the other forms. So I already have an accent on the yo form, of course, but I need an accent on the I in iste, an accent on the I in imos, and an accent on the first I in istes. So these verbs change from I to Y in the slipper and take extra accents on the first I's outside of the slipper. Let's check our golden ticket to see if there are any exceptions. Of course there are. Traer is an exception. Why? Because traer is a teacup. Trach. You guys know that. And any verbs that end in GUIR. Also, back in Spanish 2B when we talked about that. Verbs that end in UIR, like construir, and that's the one that we always focused on, also belong in this group, but no extra accents appear in the endings outside the slipper. So construir still changes I's to Y's in the slipper, but no extra accents appear on the outside on the endings outside the slipper. So how many accents will construir have? It will still have two. It still needs one on the yo and the he, she. We will practice this in class. This is on your golden ticket. This is review material. Now, getting to the notes that you guys need to write down on actual note paper in your notes, we need to make sure that you remember, or in some cases are learning for the first time, the present tense forms of these verbs. There's no reason why you ever have a verb in your vocabulary section or a verb that we're talking about in any tense that you don't know in the other tenses that you've already learned. Leer and creer are totally normal. You've conjugated these before. So now we're in the present tense. We're just talking about them in the present. ER verbs, o ace a, amos ace n. So if I were to conjugate leer, so you guys put down the heading in your notes, do you remember / know the present forms? You're going to write leer and creer, totally normal. You're going to, in a second, make 3 charts, one for leer, one for creer, and one for caer. And since we said leer is totally normal, students still doubt themselves when they have to conjugate this. What is the stem of leer? Oh, I didn't leave myself enough room. Let's move this. Oh no, not going to work. All right, I've fixed it. I've got enough room now. Leer, of course, means to read. Of course, you should know the definition. But the stem of leer is LE. So therefore, yes, you do end up with double E's in all the forms except for the yo form. And the same thing happens to creer because the stem ends in the letter E. you're going to end up with, okay, you guys should already have the chart for layer, so I'm going to move that out. You guys will end up with double E's in all except for the yo form when you fill in your creer chart in your notes, which means to believe. So go ahead and copy that down carefully with those double E's. All right, caer, you guys might remember from when we used it reflexively to say to fall down. And we were using it in the preterite then, and I don't know if you guys will remember the yo form or not, but it is irregular in the present tense. It is kaigo. So knowing that, once you have your creer chart, I'm going to move that out of the way. We're going to write down caer's chart, which the yo form is irregular, so it's not just that. It is, oh, am I going to be able to write this? Kaigo. Not bad. So please carefully copy down your chart for caer, indicating the fact that's supposed to be a star, that it has an irregular yo. Kaigo, kaies, kaie, kaiemos, kaies, kaien. C-A-I-G-O for the yo form. All right, let's talk about another one of our verbs that changes I to Y in the preterite and see what it looks like in the present tense. That verb is construere. We did take notes on this last year for sure. It is one of the only verbs that we have ever talked about being a U to UY stem changer. It's not one of the main three, E to IE, E to I only, or O to UE, but it is a stem change. And knowing that, verb stem change in the boot in the present tense. So it looks like this. Please include this chart in your notes. U to UY in the boot makes it look like that. And last but not least, let's talk about oír, which means to hear. By the way I've organized these notes is verbs from least complex to most complex as far as conjugating them. Leer and creer, totally normal. Then we added caer, which is normal, but with an irregular yo. Construir is a stem change, and now we're talking about oír, which has an irregular yo, and as crazy as it sounds, it is an O to OY stem changer. If you want to challenge yourself, I challenge you to conjugate this verb on your own, probably in pencil before I reveal it to you and see if you come up with the right information. So knowing it's going to have an irregular yo, it's a lot like kaigo, and it's going to be an O to OI stem changer, and what's left of the boot, see what you can do. And there's even a third thing that's special about it. I should really put oír. Oh, I'm showing you guys something with 3 stars because that's how many things are special about it. So here we go. The yo form is oigo, a lot like kaigo. And what's left of the boot, it is an O to OY stem changer. And then, did you guys see the thing that makes it different? The third special thing about it is that the nosotros has an accent on the I. A lot of times when we get to this point, a lot of people said, Profe, you said that verbs with 4 letters don't have an accent on the vosotros. True, but ois does not have 4 letters, so the rule does not apply. Please copy down these charts in your notes. You are responsible for knowing them. If you have questions, please bring them to class. Adios.